For the year 2020, I'm making a video review for every new movie I watch, whether in theaters or at home, and on October 16th, I watched It Follows. Welcome to my year in movies. This is talking to myself. So this recommendation existed before the channel did even, so I want to thank my good friend Charlie for recommending this film. I greatly enjoyed it, but let's talk about it. It is a truth universally acknowledged that no matter how fast a horror movie character runs, the monster can always catch up to them simply by walking. And It Follows really put that into practice with this nebulous, frightening, relentless it that stalks the main character, Jay. Micah Monroe is excellent. She brings a strong, fresh, final girl energy to the character of Jay. And Jay honestly begins the movie at the end of a horror movie. Her date with Hugh that leads to her, being stalked by the it feels like a climax from a separate movie. And so to see what would happen after, how a character would have to adjust to the aftermath of that was really neat, and I enjoy that exploration. It's a really cool concept of a film. Oftentimes in horror movies, the virgin character is spared from the gruesome death at the hands of the monster, whereas characters who engage in sexual acts are punished. And this film takes that concept literally by having the it be sexually transmitted. And that's another strength of the film too, is after Jay's date with Hugh, the rules are established. She's tied to a wheelchair, and Hugh is going to guarantee she understands what is about to happen. It's going to keep walking for you. You can pass it on to someone else, but if the it kills the person you give it to, it's going to come back for you. And it's so simple, and that is the beauty of it. You don't need to make it complicated. And this film ends up becoming kind of a tribute to 1980s horror without relying on pastiche to accomplish that. It's not a parody of 80s films. It's like, here are these concepts. What do they look like, through a more modern lens? What do we do when we take these concepts literally and make them the rules rather than the implications set by the film? Part of what makes this a really neat kind of tribute to 1980s horror is the synth-heavy score from Rich Vreeland, which, by the way, was immaculate, so eerie and disquieting. There are so many sequences where it's not like the shrieking violence slowly getting louder. It's like little almost popcorn type sounds in the background. It's really effective. The set decoration and color palette, it feels very old school. It reminds me a lot of Napoleon Dynamite in that respect, and it riffs, as mentioned, on the concepts in those horror movies and solidifies them into the rules of the universe. This is a masterclass in camera movement and framing. There's a really cool video from Cinefix, I believe, that goes into some of my favorite scenes in the movie. In several scenes, the camera is constantly rotating, so about the time you're like, wait, that person's walking, is that the it? The camera moves, so you have no time to confirm. You just have to wait, and if that person's still walking when the camera gets back, maybe it was it. We don't know. The opening scene is a really good example of that as well, of the camera constantly following the girl in that scene, and so we don't get to see what she's running from, but we understand later. This is a much subtler horror film as well. It isn't built around jump scares, it's built around making us uncomfortable and using nudity in particular as a way to just kind of make us uncomfortable and put us off our edge. Seeing someone beaten and half naked in a kitchen peeing down their leg, I was really uncomfortable, and we just have to kind of look at it for a bit. Seeing someone naked on a roof in broad daylight, that makes me uncomfortable. We shift in our seats, not in anticipation, but in oh my gosh, cut away, please. And this is also a really good movie at building just real, palpable dread. It is a dread movie. David Robert Mitchell, who wrote and directed it, he really leaned into these wide shots that give us a chance to digest everything we see in the background. Or he'll have shots that are off center. And so we're like, wait, why isn't Jay the focus? What are we supposed to be looking for? What are we missing? And that's a really strong choice that works really well in the film's favor. Other shots give us kind of a sense of unease because they are focused on Jay, but they're shot in such a way that we feel like we're spying on her. And then other shots feel like we're the ones being spied on. And it's really, really effective in that regard. But yeah, this is one that I also think I'm going to appreciate the more I think about it, because I think there's a lot going on. It's a rare film where they throw in literary references, and the things that are being read in the background, like in classroom settings, didn't annoy me, because I'm like, I see what you're doing. These are actually subtly within the themes of the film, and I appreciated that a lot. From what I read, this film did really well, and with good reason. I was really impressed with it because it was such a new concept. A lot of horror films, I think, got bogged down in kind of like that torture porn through the early 2000s, and in the 2010s we got some really good ones in exchange for that. And this one I think is going to go down in history as one of the like classics. If you are really into Halloween, John Carpenter's original Halloween, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, this really reminded me of that. I think this would be a good film for you to kind of check out if you haven't already. It's really eerie. It's really good. I will say, at least for me, and I'm a very, not very paranoid person, but kind of a paranoid person. If you're the kind of person who fears like stalking, home invasion type things, this may not be for you, but I slept just fine after watching it, and I watched it like with headphones and went to bed pretty soon after. But if stalking and home invasion is something that you're kind of uncomfortable with, maybe this isn't for you. But if you're looking for something new to branch out to for Halloween, this is a really good candidate for that. It was a lot of fun. So thank you, Charlie. This was a banger. This has been My Year in Movies. Thank you for watching.